Hey folks, Maverick Watch Reviews back here with another review for you. Today we have the Raven Trekker 300 meter automatic diver, model number RT03, and as usual we'll open it up, look at the fit and finish, the features and the functions, the build quality, and then I'll give you my overall impressions of this pretty nice 300 meter diver from Raven. Now, this has got to be one of the nicer watch boxes I've ever seen. It's got this really nice pillow top fabric right here, really nice watch box. And you get some really cool stuff inside in addition to the actual watch. Now on this side you have the actual watch, and you have a couple extra straps. You have a leather strap, and you have this rubber strap. The only problem with these straps are they're a little bit too small for bigger guys. So Raven might want to think about making these a little bit bigger. And before I go on, I actually want to thank Steve over at Raven for sending me this review unit. So Steve, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, see if you can make these straps just a little bit longer, maybe about another inch if possible. For guys with bigger wrist sizes, these just a little bit too small. But anyway, they're very good quality, just a tad too small. All right, and then you have the actual watch itself. Let me go ahead and take this out. And then on the other side, you got some more goodies here. You've got a NATO strap, which is plenty long, real nice gray NATO strap. You've got some extra spring bars right there. You have this Velcro patch. I guess if you want to patch it on your jacket or something, there's a Velcro patch for you. And you have your registration card. There you go. So, a nice little set of goodies there for your watch. And for a watch, at this price range, you would kind of expect some of this stuff. But it's, it's not guaranteed you're going to get all this stuff, but it's nice that you get it with these Raven watches. And another cool part about this side is when you're not wearing the watch, you can actually store it in here, and you can store an extra watch over here. So you have extra storage in this case. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at this thing. All right. Now, as usual, I'll go ahead and put up all the specs on the left-hand side of the screen, and then we'll go into a lot more detail about this watch. You're looking at a 40 millimeter sandblasted case. It's 14 millimeters thick. It's on a 20 millimeter Jubilee bracelet. It's 300 meters water resistant, which is 990 feet. It's got a Miyota 90-15 movement, which is windable and hackable, and has a 42-hour power reserve. It has a sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating on the inside. It's got Superluminova BGW9 all over the indexes and hands, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit later for you. You've got your date function over there at 4:30. You've got a signed screw-down crown over here at 3 o'clock, and you have some really nice drilled lugs, and I'll go a little more into detail about that later. So I like the watch overall. I love the look, but there's some functional problems with this thing, at least in my opinion. But I like the overall look of the watch. I like the quality of the watch. I like the materials used. Really nice sandblasted case, kind of that matte finish. I like that. Great looking. This is kind of an homage to a couple different watches like the Tudor, the Submariner. You can see it's kind of an homage to those type of watches, but not like a direct copy or anything like that. I like the dial in the face, extremely legible, really nice bezel, fully loomed bezel, and like I said, I'll demonstrate that here in a few minutes. I like the indexes, I like the hands, I like everything about the actual dial of the watch. The second hand's a little bit long for my liking, but that's just a personal opinion. I don't know if I would put that big, rectangle there at the end, but it's not obviously not a deal breaker. It's still a great looking watch. The font for the word automatic and 300 meters could be a tad bit bigger. Again, this is my personal opinion. I mean, I'm not making this watch, so Steve can design these any way he wants to. And he did a great job. Just a couple little tweaks might make it, even better for people. So really nice case. It's unadorned on the back. I mean, you basically get the Raven logo and the model number of the watch. I'm sorry, the actual edition number of the watch, which I think is 998, I believe. No other writing or laser etching on the case back other than the Raven logo. And this watch looks a little bit familiar with you. Steve also owns Stevrol watches, which has those famous Megalodon watches. So it's basically two watch companies that are owned by Steve and another gentleman. So anyway, so you've seen that before, you'll recognize the websites are pretty similar too. So anyway, you do get a signed buckle right there. And of course you get this Jubilee bracelet, and you have these screw-in links. And I'll talk about these a little bit here in a minute. These drove me crazy, as well as the bracelet, and I'll explain a little bit more later. All right, the crown. The crown is very nice. It has an extremely strong crown pop to it, which I absolutely love. And I like the fact that the crown is set out just a little bit, even when it's screwed in. See how it has that collar, kind of the inner collar? It doesn't have any crown guards, but it's just extremely smooth. It has a great crown pop to it, a great feel. It's nicely knurled, has a nice Raven signed logo right there. The rest of the case is pretty unimpressive, other than the fact that it's got a real nice finish. That sandblasting finish is very nice, but the actual shape of the case is nothing, revolutionary. But it's nice. You do get drilled lugs, and again, I'll talk about those in a minute. Those things drove me crazy. But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and open it up here. Now this bracelet's a little bit harder to get open than some others I've tried. As you can tell. There we go. It's a little bit harder to get open. It doesn't have a push button clasp to actually open this part. It's just a friction closure that you just close like that. And then it closes, then you hook the other clasp over there. But it's a little hard to get undone. There you go. Well, I thought I had, there we go. It is very high quality, but it's just a little bit hard to undo. Now here's the deal. Now I was gonna try the NATO strap on this thing just to see what it looked like. So I took off the Jubilee bracelet, which took me literally no time at all. And then I said, you know what, let's try the leather strap and the rubber strap. Those were too small, not a big deal, high quality, but just too small. And then I wanted to put on the NATO. So I was trying to put on a NATO, and that fit okay, no problem, plenty long. And then I went to put the regular Jubilee bracelet back on the watch. And this took me literally an hour. For some reason, these drilled lugs are, I don't know if they're not perfectly aligned or what's going on, but the spring bar inside would not line up. So one side being firmly, and one side would be in just enough where it would stay on, and even if you wiggled it kind of hard, it would still stay on, but you could see a huge amount of movement between the solid end link and the actual case. I mean, we're talking like a millimeter or two of gap between the end link and the case. And I was like, I know that spring bar is not in there firmly. So I tried literally for an hour, pressing on it, popping the spring bar, trying to see if I can get the spring bar to pop in this drilled lug. And it was an absolute pain in the ass. I don't know if it's just an alignment issue with the drilled lugs. I've never had a problem with any other watch with this, particular issue of actually, putting the bracelet back in. Now you're obviously not going to have a problem if you're using a leather strap or a NATO strap, because there's no solid end link. The spring bar is exposed, and it's much easier to line that up by eye because you can see it. You can see the whole thing, but you can't see it with the bracelet because of the solid end link. And I don't know if it's a machining issue. I just don't know why it was so hard. Now there's absolutely no play because they're in there firmly. And when they're in there firmly, this solid end link has absolutely no play whatsoever. But it was just such a pain to get it in there perfectly that I've never had that issue before. And it's a little disappointing that it was so hard to get this Jubilee bracelet back on. Now, another thing, I'm not a big fan of Jubilee bracelets. They have so much movement. I mean, look at that. They have so much movement going on, so many ways to pinch your arm hairs. This thing is an arm hair bandit. It loves to pull out your arm hairs. And that's just because it's a Jubilee bracelet. It's got tons of places for the hair to get stuck inside. And I've never been a fan of Jubilee bracelets. The next thing, this bracelet as it is, even with it being set to be the largest that it can be, actually the smallest it can be, it's still too big for me. So I wanted to go ahead and take out one of these links. Now, normally I love screw links because you just unscrew the link, and then slide a link out and pop in a new one. But this one, when you screw on one side, the other side screws the opposite way. So they're connected somehow in the middle, And it's just a nightmare, and I just gave up. It's just a nightmare to try to get a tiny little flathead screwdriver stuck on this side stationary while you're taking another tiny little flathead screwdriver on this side, turning it while keeping this one stationary. I just gave up. Steve, if you have any recommendations for how to do that, I would love to do that. I mean, I've changed out tons of bracelets and straps in my lifetime, but this one just totally stumped me. And I guess in the middle of the link, maybe there's like a clockwise and a counterclockwise thread or something. I'm not quite sure, but this should just unscrew, and then you slide the screw out, slide the link out, and then put the other link in and just replace it. I don't know what I was doing wrong. I don't think I was doing anything wrong. I think that's just the way this is designed. I might be wrong. But anyway, so I just left it on there. It's a little bit too big for me. But the thing is, I like the watch itself. It's just the bracelet to me and the lugs. That was the main problems. I love the look of the watch. It's a quality watch. It's very well made, very well machined screw down crown. I love the dial and the face and the hands, except for that second hand being just a little bit too long and the font being a little bit too small. But everything else is fine. So let's go ahead and try it on. It's easy to get on. That's not a problem once you master it. So it's got some really nice wrist presence. You can see the homage to a Tudor or a Submariner or a couple other different watches. But nice coin edge bezel, really nice bezel. Great click action, one of the tightest bezels I've ever reviewed. Really nice, strong click action on the bezel. Really cool. And a nice amount of lume. All right, there we go. That came off pretty easily that time. So let's check out this lume. Let me kill the light here, and I'll show you the lume. Now, you're not going to get, Seiko's Lumibrite Performance, because this is Super Luminova, but I love the color, and it does last a decent amount of time. So there you go. Here we go. So there you go. I love that fully lumed bezel. Really nice. Great color. I love that kind of aqua teal blue. Love it. So what I'm probably going to do, if I can figure out the bracelet issues and the lug issue, I might, use this as like an everyday wear for a while. I mean, I like it that much. I like the way the watch looks. Great looking watch, man. Now, with it being only 40 millimeter, that's literally at the bottom end of case sizes that I can deal with. Anything smaller just looks ridiculous on my big wrist. But 40 millimeters is at the absolute end, the bottom of case size. Normally I like between 42 and 45 millimeters, but it's just such a great looking watch. It's got a quality, a great movement. I mean, the movement's on par with an ETA movement. It's made by Miyota, which is owned by Citizen. It's a nice upper end Japanese movement. So I mean, the quality of the watch is fantastic. I think there's just maybe some slight production issues with these lugs. And I want to figure out this bracelet deal. So, but it's a great watch. Go out there and get one. You can get one for about $700. If you want to have it shipped in the United States, they're $710, and that includes shipping. The actual price of the watch is $690, and the shipping varies depending on where you live. So if you live overseas, it's going to be a little bit more. But here in the USA, I'm assuming just the continental USA, that's $710 with that's $20 shipping. So there you go. So I'm trying to think of anything else I forgot. Really nice watch, just a couple, like I said, just a couple minor issues that I can probably, take care of. I don't know, maybe the spring bars had been bent somehow. That's a possibility. Maybe, like I said, maybe they were bent a little bit. The Jubilee bracelet, being a hair magnet is absolutely the truth. I've always had a problem with Jubilee bracelets. So maybe I'll get a different bracelet and swap it out. I'm not quite sure. But besides that, great watch. Go out there and get one. There are 5 different models of this watch, different case finishes, and they have some new ones coming out too. So anyway, I'll put all the associated links down in the description field for you to go over there and check out Raven watches, and also check out Stevrol watches, and I'll put a link to both of those websites. And again, I want to thank Steve for sending me this review unit, and that's about it. Until the next review, I will see y'all later. Take care. Bye-bye.